just rolled credits on this game right here, Red Dead Redemption 2. Should you play this game? Yes. Will you beat this game? Now that is a very, very interesting question, and that is going to be the crux of my video review for you guys today. I ultimately thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was a fun game, but it had a litany of flaws with it. I kept coming back primarily because it is one of the, if not the most beautiful Xbox games I have ever played. Rockstar Games did a phenomenal job of world building in this game. Every single detail is accounted for in crystal clear clarity and lighting. It's a very, very silky, smooth frame rate with absolutely no hitching, literally no pop-ups. It's a very pretty game technically. And you're gonna fall in love with a lot of things you're gonna do in this world. Whether it's loading your revolver with every single bullet going into the chamber with really clear audio clarity, whether it's the puff of smoke after you shoot a gun, whether it's your hat falling off when you're getting shot at, or swimming and how your character kind of like sways their hands kind of like this to dry off a little bit. Every small mechanic in this game is 100% accounted for. There are so many animations in this game. You're going to be playing this game probably almost 100 hours, okay? And even at the very end, you're still going to be impressed by some of the mechanics and some of the things that you didn't even know existed in this game. Not even to mention the litany of side quests and the litany of exploration you can do, whether it's hunting for big game or going around and just shopping at different stores, customizing your character, breeding and getting new horses, stealing from trains, house robberies. The list goes on and on and on. The amount of things you're going to do in this game are staggering. So that's what goes back to my first question. Yes, you should check this out and experience it for yourself. And like most people, it will probably get its hooks into you very early on because you're going to be so amazed at what you can do. In a fully fledged 3D cowboy world, you can play in first person or third person for the entire experience. The voice acting and everything else will absolutely draw you in. But you're gonna run into a little hitch, and that's where me and many other people are, were, at least I was until I plowed through this game, and that you're gonna get burnt out. I mean, this game came out a while ago. Here we are, early 2020. I mean, we're into March now of 2020, and I just got around to beating it. My save file, actually, when I dusted it off, was from December of 2018. So I took a very long time off of this game. I haven't even touched the online component. If it warrants a separate video, I'll cover it later. But you're gonna get burnt out. And I think it has a lot to do with the incredibly horrific pacing of this game. Definitely a lot of mundane things, some of which matter at the end, particularly as you kind of close the chapter on what was going on prior to Red Dead Redemption, which I'll talk about in a second. And partially, so some of that will actually carry over. However, a majority of the things you do mean nothing, and they pan out to nothing. I don't know if that was the intent of this game or not, to show you the meaningless of everything. I'm not going to get into any kind of existentialism or anything, not like what I talked about on Nier Automata in terms of, philosophy and that sort of thing. However, a lot of stuff you do just straight up doesn't matter. And I don't say that because it's boring. I say that because the game quickly will shift your focus in another direction. A lot of heists that you plan go horribly wrong. A lot of these master schemes that you have to kind of beat the system, so to speak, never pan out the way that you think they will. Characters are introduced and very quickly murdered, or they run away, or they just don't matter. And it happens time and time again. And it really does, when you look back at the end of the game and you think about all of your experiences that you had, which is what I've been doing most of the day. I actually beat this game this morning. I'm not doing the video until much later at night. But thinking back along the day of all the things that I saw and all the things that I did, yes, I remember a lot of the characters. Yes, I remember some of the dialogue that they had. And I could give you a very quick bio of all of the characters because you spend so much time with them. But I think if you locked yourself in a room with me for 100 hours, by the end, you would probably learn a thing or two about me. Would it matter? Maybe not. And I think that's where this game really struggles, is that there's just a lot of nothingness and a lot of filler that just really drones on, and it becomes monotonous. The travel in particular, this game is going to force you to enjoy the world. And I did spend a lot of time at the beginning part of this video review talking about all those great mechanics I love. And hopefully you love them, because you're gonna spend a lot of time on your horse, riding across the map. Now, the game has this system that allows you to set a waypoint and then go into what they call cinematic mode, where the camera will pan in a very cinematic way. How clever. That it'll basically autopilot you to a place. But it's not a jump in time where you fast travel and the screen blacks out and it blacks in and you're magically at your location. Oh no. You're gonna actually have to go down every single road, over every hill, through every stream, as you work your way to the map to complete an objective, and then work your way all the way back to your base to get the next mission. And you're gonna do this time and time again. If I had to guess, I would say a good 40% of this game, 40% of this game is spent on you riding your horse from mission to mission. Now, yes, sometimes you will be going with a partner and there will be some dialogue. A lot of times the dialogue ends well before you get to where you need to get to. So you're gonna be riding in sheer silence for a very long time. There are few instances where the game will automatically show you, like for cinematic purposes, it will fade to black and then come back at a different time, particularly if there's a day or night shift in terms of like if a mission needs to happen at a certain time. But outside of that, you're gonna be tethered to the back of this horse for a very long time, and it just gets boring and unfun. It really does. Now, they being Rockstar, has peppered in a lot of little environmental kind of things you can do. You'll run across bank robbers being chased by lawmen where you could intervene or do nothing. You can kill the police officers, you could kill the bandit, you could kill everybody. You do whatever you want, which will give you a little bit of replayability in between. Sometimes you might stumble across a guy being attacked by wolves, or a woman who needs a ride because her horse died, or blah, 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 which gives you typically a small amount of money and a brief little bit of reputation, which there is a reputation system, which I didn't really care for. It didn't really do a whole lot. Apparently it does determine the ending of the game, although I played like a dick and I still got the good ending, so I'm not really sure how that plays into things. However, outside of those little events, which will repeat themselves in time, you're gonna be bored to death. And that is my absolute biggest criticism of the game, and I think most people will get burnt out on that and they will quit playing it for that sole reason. Now, if you do plow through all of that, which I am not kidding you, I have 2 TVs over here when I play games. I actually had my PlayStation 4 up and running, and I was playing some indie games. I was playing Nuclear Throne and Spelunky on one TV, while on my other TV, I quick traveled with that cinematic mode, because some of the rides would take you upwards of 5 minutes, which was just boring. There was nothing to do. So I would actually play a game within a game, which is just ridiculous. And I think that really speaks to the caliber of how much riding you're going to be doing. So if you can get past all that and you're just still in love with the cowboy scene like I was, it was fun. It was cool to be a cowboy and to live in those times, being the last of the outlaws and trying to fight your way against an ever shrinking world thanks to modern technology and the Pinkerton Detective Agency, who's kind of laying out the land in terms of civilizing people. And you're going to see, some run-ins with the remaining Indian tribes as they're being wiped out, and, basically the world changing. There being no need for outlaws anymore, and definitely them on the run, and they're going to be on the run quite a bit. The story doesn't really catch you at all. I mean, the title of the game, Red Dead Redemption, it's right there in the cover. And this guy right here, Mr. Arthur Morgan himself, really irredeemable in a lot of ways. An absolute asshole. A cold-blooded murderer, a thief, a liar, a cheat. You name it, this guy is bad. Now, they try to inject a small amount of honor that he has, particularly in the last third of the game, when he realizes that what he's been doing is maybe not the right thing, And now, for the good of everyone else around him, who, oh, by the way, are also murderers and liars and thieves and cheats, he's going to take one for the team and he's going to right all the wrongs. I don't want to give away how he's going to do that in case you want to play it for yourself. But I'll say that ultimately his redemption is very flat. I did not find any redemption in him at all. As a matter of fact, he just straight up ran out of time. And he just pushed himself way too far, killed way too many innocent people. And ultimately, in the end, I think he kind of maybe came to peace with himself, but maybe not. And if you have played both Red Dead Redemptions, you'll know that this game is actually a prequel to Red Dead Redemption starring John Marston. And if you've played that game, you know that John Marston is tasked with hunting down members of his old gang. So, you already know in this game who lives and who dies. When you're introduced to a new character you've never seen before, there's a really good chance there's a reason why. They're either going to be killed, or they're going to be run off, or they're going to just do something stupid and, get arrested. But they're not going to be part of John Marston's redemption, which I did feel actually had some redemption to it. Arthur Morgan, on the other hand, absolutely not. Was he an interesting character? Largely, yes. I think he had some very redeemable qualities, but I definitely wouldn't consider this any sort of redemptive arc. And I think had he gotten away with all the things he thought he was going to get away with, this story would have taken a much different turn. If you haven't played the game up until the very end, as I mentioned, Arthur Morgan is an asshole, and you will kill many, many innocent people to save your own butt. And it's not even this weird type of vigilantism or any kind of weird heroic code. He's killing people because he wants money, because he wants to get away, because he thinks he's earned it. He's not killing people because he's been committed some major travesty in his life or anything like that. No, he's just a straight up murderer. And it's hard to feel any sympathy for him or the gang, really, when you realize how much pain and suffering they caused on innocent people. In the sake of fun gameplay, absolutely. But in terms of overall story and connection, which is what you're going to need to finish this game, because I'm telling you right now, the mechanics are going to beat you down into the ground. You're going to have a reason to keep playing this game. And to me, the story just wasn't there. And especially getting to the end, this big payoff scene, the grand finale, the whatever's going to happen. When you get to that scene, you're going to roll your eyes. I know I did. I was not impressed with how this game ended at all. I saw it coming 55 miles away, and it delivered exactly what I thought it was going to deliver. So I would have to say, yes, it's a fun game. I recommend you check it out. Dabble with it. Jump into the online gameplay. Be a cowboy. Ride your horse into town. Go nuts. Rob a bank. Have some fun with it. When you settle down to get into the story beats, you're going to lose interest. At least I did. I hope you guys liked this video review. It may not be a very popular one. I don't know. This game definitely was very polarizing in terms of the story. I know that for a fact. I will say, though, that overall it was critically acclaimed. It was definitely a Game of the Year candidate, and in many of those circles, it won. It was definitely a very well-respected game, and I think it deserves a lot of that praise. I think that Rockstar took a really good 20-hour game and made a really crappy 100-hour game. And they did fluff it with a lot of things, and they did pad it with a lot of things, but ultimately it didn't drive the story in any clear direction. Hope you guys enjoyed this video review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.